Welcome back. It's To Be Fair. We're on the To Be Fair airwaves. It's me, Dirk, and that's my partner, Will.
Hi.
Partner on a podcast, not partner for life. But Will, if we had to be, damn it, I'd do it.
Hetero life mates.
So we're going to talk about The Little Mermaid, 1989, the cartoon version, not the new one that came out. They re-released, not re-released, but they released a live action version, which I heard is really good. But we won't be talking about that one today. Today, we're going to go over the story of Ariel. And for that, since he's seen it so many more times than I have, I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Will to give us just a little rundown synopsis of The Little Mermaid, 1989.
Hey, everybody. Really excited to tell you about The Little Mermaid because I've seen it a few times. I have a 5-year-old daughter. She'll be 5 in about a month and a half. I keep on saying 4.5, but really it's 5. She likes The Little Mermaid. She likes it a lot. If you ever have had a 5-year-old child, they probably have loved, if not The Little Mermaid, something with the same level of zeal and commitment.
Before you go over this, is that a little mermaid behind you?
No, that's a beached whale.
Okay, it looked like a little mermaid.
It was something I was a model for in earlier in my career.
Can we get a close up or?
No.
That's great news for us. All right, you guys. So zoom in on that. Let's see what happens for all of our 12 viewers.
While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
So The Little Mermaid, the 1989 version, is based, as all Little Mermaids are, on the Hans Christian Andersen story. We start off with King Triton, the Lord of the Seas, preparing for a recital with his beautiful, talented daughters, the most of which is Ariel, young, sweet Ariel, who is under the training of a lobster. Apparently the lobster runs the musical program Under the Seas. And she has a fascination as a mer person with the above surface world. She loves the surface world. She follows the surface world. She collects surface world things, and she has a handy dandy seagull who pretends to understand what the world is, the upside world, the above ground world is all about. She as part of her fascination, she sees a ship. She sees a boy on a ship. She falls in love with this boy. She then goes to a wicked aquatic sorceress. She trades her voice for the ability to get legs and go on land and see him. And the deal is if she kisses this man within 3 days, she'll get her voice back. But if she doesn't, then she will be captured. Her soul will be captured, and she will lose her voice forever. And she will be a withered up little thing in the bottom of the ocean. The witch, Ursula is her name. Ursula is the witch, and she steals. She has Ariel's voice. She uses Ariel's voice because, this is an important point. I missed this. Ariel saves this man she sees on the boat. The boat sinks. She sees this man, and the man hears her sing, and he falls in love with not the person, but the voice. And the witch's entire plan at this point is to get back at King Triton. Right? There's some real bad boss energy happening there. It's not really a good situation. And she sees that Ariel's about to win this game, man. Like Ariel's straight up going to get her voice back. And it's just going to be like, Ursula. Ha. Ursula takes her voice, uses her voice to convince Prince Eric.
Nice.
The gentleman, the aforementioned gentleman. That she is in fact the person who saved him in the angelic voice. I'm not done yet. King Triton comes in, and he barters with Ursula. He trades his soul, so he becomes a shriveled up piece of coral. And then Eric takes the boat. Ariel gets her voice back. Ursula gets big because she has King Triton's powers, and then she dies. And they all live happily ever after, except for the fact that the 16-year-old marries Prince Eric.
Whoa. Did you just say 16-year-old?
She's 16-year-old. Yeah, she's a 16-year-old mer person.
I'm going to let that sink in for a second. So this love story, it sounds like she's 16. I'm guessing he's 16.
We are not left to guess his age, but based on his musculature, if he's 16, he's on the HGH.
So he's probably in his mid-20s. You thinking early to mid-20s?
I'm putting him in early to mid-20s. I'm putting him in
Okay.
early mid-20s. I mean, I'm definitely putting him in statutory rape town.
Way to go, Disney. Hey, great synopsis, Will. Great
Thank you.
synopsis.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to throw a couple things in here that I remember from watching the movie this morning.
Okay.
Ursula's little souls, they're called polyps. Okay, I
Polyps.
remember that. They're called polyps. I believe Sebastian is actually a hermit crab, not a lobster, believe it or not.
That I believe you were correct. Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
And
Equally tasty.
those are the two things that hit my mind when you're doing the synopsis. And I thought, I'm glad I watched it this morning. And by watched it, I mean it was on.
Let me just go ahead and lay some groundwork before we dig into this anymore. I'm not a fan.
I got to tell you, I really like it.
Not a fan.
While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
Let me tell you why I like it real quick. Give you a couple of reasons. Okay.
All right, let's dig in. Let's take this one. Let's take this one at a time.
I'll start with the first thing, and I wrote a couple notes down here. One of the things that it highlights that I like is that sometimes, especially as a young person, you have a struggle to be heard, and that's they make it just a little obvious struggle to be heard when they take her voice away. But when they take her voice and they say, "Oh, you want to go up there and see what the humans are all about," and she's got this museum of human things, right? I mean, she's got this whole warehouse basically of all the stuff she's gotten from ships that have come overboard, and she goes in there and she shows it to her little flounder friend, which very creative name, Flounder, for a flounder fish, by the way.
I think the term you're looking for is not a collection. I think the term you're looking for is garbage.
Yeah, she has a bunch of shit. Just shit.
She has 14 flinger bangers, and she has 252 flugel binders.
Yeah, well, that's the Seagull names those things, and we'll get to Drunken Seagull. It's all the shittiest things you could want. Like, it's not like she's got gold bars and stuff. She's got like spoons, and then she goes up and sees this guy, and she realizes, okay, I want to be human, and then she really wants to be human because she kind of falls in love with this guy who she saved from drowning, which is Eric, who happens to be also a prince because it's a Disney movie, and also musculature wise in his 20s. And they really built up her voice at the beginning, and you kind of went over it in the synopsis, but like at the very beginning, they're putting on a concert and it's her first time. They're going to show her beautiful voice, which is supposed to be even better than her sisters, even though they have beautiful voices, and Triton's excited, and Sebastian gets out there, and boom, they open the shell to show her name. She's not there. Okay. But her voice is what really comes through, and she sings about wanting to be part of the world up there. So here's what I like about it. She has to make a choice. So this is Disney saying, look, there is a cost for things. If you want to go up there and you want to be human and you want to fall in love with this guy or have a chance with it, it's going to cost you something. And you know what it is? It's your voice. Do you want to make that decision? It's your choice. Go for it. How do you feel about that, Will?
I feel like asking a 16-year-old to sacrifice her advocacy, her agency, her self-agency for a guy is not only a terrible.
Oh, hold on now. I know you didn't stop me, but it's not for a guy. She's wanted to be up there amongst the humans for a long, long time. She's got a whole museum full of their stuff. So
what was the trigger? What was the trigger? She traded her voice so she could be and meet Prince Eric.
Well, we'll never know, because that really, when the two Flotsam and Jetsam see her with the Queen Ursula, when she sees that he's in love, she kind of makes that choice. So maybe she would have done it before. We don't know, Will. But if she's going to make decisions about everything else being 16, I don't know if that's a viable defense.
I think that we're not talking about everything. I think we're talking about this story where this young woman
right,
sacrifices her agency for the attempt to go after an older guy, right? Like, we see this story over and over again, and it gets repeated over and over again. And it is a great trope of I think we can go back to Roseanne, and actually Roseanne's oldest daughter's relationship with her boyfriend, Johnny. Becky and Johnny.
Sure.
How'd that turn out? That turned out great, didn't it?
I don't
Younger
remember
girl,
well.
older guy. Oh, it works out every time. Oh, I need to sacrifice myself for him. I need to do these things for him because he loves me. I mean, it's just it's crass, it's antiquarian, it's anti-feminist. It is everything that is wrong. It's not about sacrifice, because I do like your idea that and I wish I could hew to it. This idea that it's really about sacrificing something. Like, it's
It's
not
not
like she's in
sacrifice so
the
much as there's a cost for what you want.
right, and the cost is apparently your own agency.
Well, does she not have a deal that if she gets what she wants, which is to fall in love, she gets her voice back and to become a human? Correct. So she makes
Yeah,
a
yeah,
decision.
but she has to have the person fall in love with her without being able to speak.
I'm not saying she made a good deal. What I'm saying is she learned a lesson, and the lesson is there's a cost for things, and not again. You make great points too, because again, this might be one of the girl dad versus non girl dad things. To me, once she can't speak, she continues to adapt. She shows her kind of resiliency, I guess is the word I'm looking for, to continue to
Mm-hmm.
communicate. She's using gestures, she's using her body language, she's using her face, she's using her hands. And I got to tell you, if you have a daughter or a son or someone older or younger that has a disability where speaking is not their thing, whether it's you're on the spectrum or any kind of handicap where you really can't get things across verbally, I think it's a great lesson. Like, don't give up. It's not over. You can still communicate.
Bullshit.
Wow. Seriously? You don't think that's like the fact that she's resilient and continues to try to communicate, like she's gonna figure this shit out.
I think that is I think you could say that, but I don't think it's really what I think you have to dig to try and make a case for it.
It wasn't that hard, really. I just did it.
I think it's a weak case.
Okay.
I think it's weak sauce. And I'll tell you why I think it's weak sauce, because
Now I'm talking. Now I want to hear it. Bring it on.
if you want to take a story about a woman who sacrifices her self-advocacy and turn it into a treatise on ableism, then that's great.
I think, but she's not. You say self-advocacy, but she has other ways to communicate. There are multiple ways, and that's part of the resilience I was talking about, and the adaptability.
Like her tongue, because that's how she gets her voice back, is she has to convince someone to kiss her without her voice.
Right, which shows adaptability. And again, a good lesson for anyone who has a child that may have special needs who can't verbally get things across. They can understand the story of, oh, look, like the Disney princess can do it. Like I can still keep, like everything's going to be okay in life.
I do get your point, and I will say, like, it's impossible not to concede that there is a great underlying story that I had not considered at all. There is a story there to be told for that. There is a story for overcoming adversity. I wish they had not done it using the framework of a 16-year-old girl surrendering her voice. Like, just on its face, like on its face, the prima facie argument is pretty fucking terrible.
So much like you agreed that there's a story there, I'll say this: it's a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, a little, but I do,
kind of on the nose there to actually take the voice of a 16-year-old girl away from her period. Like, here, we're taking your fucking voice, which, by the way, they've already built up as her main thing. Is she's this great singer,
and then I'm going to barter with your dad. Then I'm going to keep his soul, give you your voice back, but get it all his power. Anyway, there's a whole lot of like honestly, there's some dynasty level manipulation happening there that's a little jacked up too. The interesting thing part is I don't think that Hans Christian Andersen's original, the source material, treats it with quite the level of, I'm going to straight up say, misogyny that is present in the animated work. And I get why, right? Because you've got to simplify the story. And how do you simplify the story? You make it compelling. How do you make it compelling? You do it by this, but the undertone and the subtext of everything that happens in that story is so demoralizing if you just deconstruct it for a second. Or at least the part we're talking about now.
So how do you feel about the whole sacrificing for love part of the movie? Does that bother you at all?
I think it's brilliant, and I think it's it's a fundamental piece of storytelling, and it's a great thing, and that part of the story is amazing. What the sacrifice for love, that the ability to overcome adversity, all of those great heroic tropes brilliant. What I would not want is to have to sacrifice that part of yourself for it.
Like, you like the story, you just don't like the vehicle they used to get to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That is a succinct way to say it.
Okay. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with it, but it's also pretty unique as far as a Disney movie goes. Like, usually it's kind of same old trope, same old trope, same old trope, and now it's like, oh, she lost her voice. Wonder how this is gonna work out.
And can I interject a qualifier to this entire thing?
Yeah, sure.
So I do think, like, my points remain. I'm very annoyed about the fact that they frame this story as a girl who has to sacrifice her agency for love, right?
Okay.
Or at least for attention. She has to sacrifice her agency to get attention. What I do think is important to remember is that it is a cartoon about mer people. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put a period there, and say, let's move ahead.
I'll say, again, to what you said earlier, it's very succinct. It is a cartoon about mer people, and specifically mermen and mermaids, as they state.
Mermaids.
So there's really just two genders in this particular Disney movie that we're aware of. Everybody relax. So I have some arbitrary questions for you here. There's only 2 or 3 of them. But before I do that, how has your view of this movie changed in the last 6 years?
I had never actually watched it, and then I've watched it probably 20 times.
So it's fair to say that Pearl's a fan.
Pearl's a fan.
Yeah. Okay. But how is, like,
where do I land on
it? Do you think it would be different if you had seen it before Pearl?
I probably would not have contextualized it in the way that I did. I probably would never have even considered, the background of all of this kind of neo-feminist claptrap that I'm spewing right now, that I thoroughly do believe and really, really annoys me about the story. I would never have seen it if I hadn't had a daughter.
You've enlightened me to some things that I hadn't really thought about. And I got to tell you, 90% of my brain right now is going, I never really thought about, like, losing your voice that much, because it's so specific. It's so on the nose. That's 90% of my brain right now. You know what the other 10% of my brain is?
Man, you've really overthought this.
Get over it, bro. Like,
going to be the first to say, this is definitely an overthought take. It's a cartoon about mer people, buddy.
While we devoting full time to floating under the sea.
So here's a couple arbitrary things maybe you can help me with, and they're real quick. We'll call them dirt questions at the end of these things, all right?
All right, let's call them dirt questions.
I noticed at the beginning, you got old King Triton riding in. He's riding these dolphins, and these dolphins seem like they're regular dolphins and shit, but they're going by fish that can talk. And then there's, like, crabs that can talk, but then they catch fish as fishermen, and those fish can't talk. But then when they go in the water, they seem sentient again. I'm like, all right, who's sentient, who's not here? Because it's like, it's like the difference between Goofy and Pluto. Like, they're both dogs, right? But one of them's talking, walking, and he's a buddy. The other one I have to take out to take shit.
So you got to kind of give it 2 qualifiers, right? The first one is it's a cartoon, and so it automatically gets a pass on certain things like laws of physics. The second one is it's Walt Disney, which means it gets certain passes on internal logic, because they sacrifice internal logic for storytelling, because you're talking to 5-year-olds.
That's a great answer, and I hope that Walter Disney doesn't hate us for saying that, even though he's super dead. Not just kind of dead. He's all the way dead, like the Princess Bride. He's not sort of dead. He's all the way dead. Oh, so smart are we?
Somebody's going to say in the comments he's frozen. Yeah, we know.
Do you want to build a snowman?
The other things I had were we actually hit during it, except for this one last thing. So do you remember the item that she's all jazzed about that's from the human world at the beginning of the movie that she has, and, like, her and Flounder go and put it in the set? Do you remember what that was?
The fork.
Like, they say it works. It was fork, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It was a fork.
So they're all jazzed. Like, what is this thing? And they can't figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's it for? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, what's her dad's name again?
King Triton.
Why is he called that?
Because he carries a Triton.
And they can't figure out what a fork is?
I'm not going to lie, Dirk. This internal logic breakdown is new to me, and I'm quite happy to come across it. It's a great movie. Make sure your daughters understand that boys aren't worth it.
Boom. Get some. We'll see you guys next time. Everybody, we're gonna hit pause. Or stop.
I'm sorry, I'm completely distracted, and I don't honestly know what you said because Brooke is texting me to see if our Costco membership is renewed.
Sometimes a kiss on the cheek. Sometimes it's like, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna kiss you on the mouth. And it's like, what the are you doing, man? Get the away from that woman. Oh God, I'm glad I edit this and you don't.
If that doesn't make it into the final cut, then there's no justice on this planet. No, because tuberculosis hasn't been a disease in the first world in 100 years. Biden level hair sniffery. I mean, it's just creepy.
And I feel like I could be wrong here, and I'll let the viewers decide. I feel like we got off point.
I think we definitely did. We are now on Snow White.
Yeah, we'll go back to that another day. We'll do Snow White another day.
Yeah.
As soon as they, can finally cast somebody who's Latina.
Yeah, you can definitely catch some stuff from A Kiss and a Corpse, Dirk.
Oh, there are mermen, though. A sexist would say. So, Will, that's how I feel as far as Disney goes about kissing any corpses. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I feel like kissing corpses is generally bad. I think that generally speaking, whether alive or not, we just shouldn't kiss unconscious people. I think looking through the lens of time and the realization that this is a fairy tale is enough for us to be able to appreciate that. But I do think it does beg, especially where you're involved, Dirk, the necessity to say, don't kiss unconscious people. That someone overcoming adversity to
find out if their Costco membership is still working.
God damn it.
I can't stop cackling. I'm like Ursula.
You keep this in this week.
I will.
So
for those who don't know, Will's he's re-upping his Costco membership. And for those of us who have a Costco membership or belong to BJ's, that's really important. So, Will, I hope you get that done.
And also for the listening audience, we are recording this the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So it is kind of coming down to crunch time.
But a fail on your part, buddy.
Epic.